What is up, my friends? Welcome to the first edition of the USFL Weekend Review. I'm your host, Mark Perry, editor of USFL News Hub. And on this week's show, we talk about the USFL schedules out. We take a look at that. Plus, we have stuff about the top 15 players in the USFL, our first power rankings. We have that out there and so much more. Plus, we talk about fantasy football and, of course, USFL News Hub. Welcome to the show. If you like football, then subscribe to this channel. Smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Let's get this channel kick-started big time because we are all about, on this channel, is USFL news only. So you have XFL News Hub, talking about XFL news, and now you have USFL News Hub talking about USFL news, and we have a ton of it coming out not only today, but this week. We'll get you all caught up in all that stuff first. But what's up? If you want to be part of the show, email podcast at USFL News Hub with your thoughts, or record an MP3 or leave a video on your phone. We'll play it on next week's show. You can also leave us a voicemail, 888-430-7692, extension 3, for your thoughts on the USFL. We have a phone call today. We are not at this second on any of these platforms: Stitcher, Audible, Player FM, Amazon, Spotify, Google. I will now, once this show is done, I will upload it to these things, and you should be able to get the USFL Weekend Review from your friends from USFL News Hub every Monday on all your podcast stuff that is coming soon. So you can watch this show, USFL Weekend Review, live at 9 p.m. Eastern every Monday. That's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. You can find it all on those channels. The USFL Timeline, March 10th, which is Thursday, you will have the USFL Supplemental Draft. March 19th through 20th, is going to be the USFL Player Combine. I'm hearing that might not happen at all. We will get details on that. March 21st, of course, is when USFL training camp begins. And then the season, April 16th, 2022. So we're 40 days away from the USFL kickoff. We're also a couple days away from this lawsuit. We'll get into that whole deal. If you had a chance to listen to the Mark cast this week, Reed had on somebody from IP lawyer, a trademark lawyer, and it wasn't such a slam dunk in his eyes. So you have to listen to his full interview there, and I will get his interview quotes on this USFL News Hub channel at some point. Let's get some more light over here, shall we? Okay. So what we're going to do now on this channel is basically we're 100% focused on the USFL. So on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, you'll get the XFL Weekend Review. Then that's on the XFL News Hub channel. Then maybe someday I'll just pass this off to somebody else. Then at 9 p.m., you'll get the USFL Weekend Review, that whole stuff, and then that will be on. And then starting in April, you'll have CFL Weekend Review, CFL News Hub on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Also live on CFL News Hub. So you got us all covered on all different channels. It just makes more sense that way, because not every person is XFL fan is a USFL fan, and vice versa. And that also holds true for the CFL. And I've been doing podcasting. If this is the first time you've ever heard of Mark Perry, I've run XFL News Hub since 2018. I've been one of the original wrestling podcasters. I stopped because I couldn't handle watching WWE anymore. So I stopped that and got into spring football, and I found a home. And because I've always loved football, I'm a Ravens season ticket holder, grew up a Jets fan in New York. So I've always been football, basketball have been my two things, and football a lot. As I got older, it was more and more football. So I'm excited about that. So that's why we do these things. USFL News Hub, we spun that up this past week just because, I can't have USFL content on XFL website and vice versa. So they really need to be separate. On our USFL News Hub site right now, you actually can look at the rosters. We should have the schedule up. We have part of the schedule up. We'll have stats on the USFL News Hub and so much more, as well as, if you didn't hear, and this is your first time checking me out or hearing me talk, we have fantasy football coming to newshubfantasy.com. You can actually go over there. We'll check out the site in a little bit. But you can go over there right now and sign up and create a league or join a league. And we were hoping to, by the end of the week, you can pre-draft and set your pre-draft up for your players. And then right after that, we'll have the next thing. I'm looking at the thing now is being able to do mock drafts. Now that we have the schedule, we can do pick'em games as well. Those are all coming to News Hub Fantasy. Well, you'll be able to play that same stuff, whether it's CFL, USFL, or XFL. Even fan control football, we threw it in there too. So just make sure if you like football, then give this a like and let's spread the word about this channel. Let all your friends know we're talking USFL. They don't understand anything about it. You just send them to this channel. We have videos about everything that we got going on here. But today is the big news. We've got the schedule out. We have all sorts of information for you about that. So without further ado, so how the show works is typically I will talk about the news. We'll do the news in the beginning. Then we'll take a commercial break, and then we'll hit it with your social media stuff. So people that are messaging us on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook, you can follow us all there. On Twitter, we are the USFL News Hub because somebody messed up that account, and we were working on trying to get that. So the USFL News Hub on Twitter is where you can find us there. So without further ado, folks, let's just get into the week that was the USFL news, I guess, right? So USFL Week 1 schedule is out and includes a triple header with a primetime game. That's right. So today the USFL released its long-awaited schedule. Teams throughout the day were dropping, starting at 9 p.m., were dropping their schedule. So 9 a.m. was the Stallions. Then you had the Maulers at 10. My Tampa Bay Bandits, as you can see with my hat, was 11. Gamblers, and so on throughout the day. So right now we got a glimpse into the Week 1 matchup, including a Sunday triple header. So Week 1 interdivisional matchups include a Sunday, April 17th triple header. First, you get the Houston Gamblers at Michigan Panthers at 12 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia Stars at Nolans Breakers at 4. And then my Tampa Bay Bandits at Pittsburgh Maulers at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is prime time, baby. Prime time game Sunday night, the first USFL weekend. Of course, we got the first game Saturday, which is against the New Jersey Generals and the Birmingham Stallions, that is going to be simulcast on Fox and NBC at the same time. Now, all of these games are taking place in Birmingham, Alabama. Don't forget about that. So we also learned that the tickets for all these games go on sale. They're on sale right now. You can go purchase them now. The USFL is making it affordable for families. 2 adults with up to 6 children can attend all 3 games for $20. So if you love football in Birmingham, Alabama is the place to be to check out all the USFL season if you want to go. I mean, that's a lot of football. And if you want to go to a 12, 4, and 8, if you want to go to all 3 games, that's some gangster level stuff. But man, talk about a tailgate. If you did that all day, that would be quite the intoxicated tailgate. Now, all tickets will be single day, which allows for entry to all the USFL games played on any one of those days, which is kind of a good idea. Adult general admission is $10. Additional blah, 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 children under get free. We will also see the team drops, including broadcast schedules. That will be tomorrow. That's what we're hearing. That will be there. NBC Universal will be carrying 21 USFL games and 8 on NBC, 9 on USA Network, and 4 on the Peacock. Fox will have 22 games, 12 on its flagship broadcast network, and 10 on FS1. And of course, kicks off April 16th on Fox and NBC. So you get a chance to see who your team is playing. Now, what times is not very certain yet. So the official press release was that the USFL, of course, announced its regular season matchups using social media. Of course, we hear from Daryl Johnston talking about football is America's favorite sport, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. Week 1 begins the USFL inaugural kickoff game, Saturday, April 16th. Notice the word inaugural. At the state-of-the-art Protective Stadium. That will be a primetime 7:30 p.m. Eastern matchup. The North Division New Jersey Generals against the South Division Birmingham Stallions. Of course, Stallions will be the big draw for the league throughout the whole season. It will be presented live on Fox, NBC, and Peacock. It is the first scheduled sports competition to air on the same time on 2 competitive networks since Super Bowl I, broadcast on NBC and CBS back in January 15th of 1969, before I was born, and probably a lot of you jabronis too. Week 1, we went over that. We went over the single-day ticket prices. They talk about Edward Hartman talks about being family friendly and being able to bring fans in. So I think it's a great opportunity to go check out a game. You can, if you lived in the area, you can go to a game and then leave and come back a couple hours later and go back to check out another game, games that are on national television. Now, week 2 they gave us some more information. Fans, the first of 6 divisional rivalry weekends this season. On Friday, April 22nd, a North Division primetime matchup pitches Michigan Panthers at New Jersey Generals. That's at 8 p.m. That's pretty cool. That's on a Friday night game. Then new rivalries continue Saturday on the 23rd with the first Keystone State battle as the Pittsburgh Maulers face the Philadelphia Stars at 12. Later that day, the South Division foes Birmingham Stallions and Houston Gamblers face off at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then rivalry weekend continues on Sunday, the 24th, with Nolens Breakers against my Tampa Bay Bandits. Yeah. All regular season team versus team matchups are listed below. Specific dates and times and locations are set for week 1 and 2. Starting in week 3, games will be assigned specific dates and times on the Monday 2 weeks prior, e.g. weeks 3 specific will be announced on Monday, April 18th, week 4 specifics on April 25th. So we're not going to get the times. We're just going to get a roundabout, but you'll get an idea of who's playing when. And I bet you just because they want to see who's good, who's not, essentially starting the flex schedule right off the bat and not even wasting any time. That's what that reads to me. The league will all play all of its regular season games Friday, Saturday, and Sundays in Birmingham. The 2 top teams in the North and South will battle for the championship on June 25th, with the division winners match up the first ever USFL championship game on Sunday, July 3rd. All 3 postseason games will be played at Tom Benson Stadium, Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, which is super cool there. Also, the USFL will announce the 2022 television schedule for the inaugural season tomorrow. So that's March 8th. USFL social media channels will provide coverage for the 10 rounds of the supplemental draft starting on March 10th, this Thursday at 7 p.m., lasting approximately 3.5 hours. Who knows who will be the last guys going, but remember, March 21st, training camp starts. So it's really hard to kind of tell, to get excited about the schedule. I mean, you could see what's going on in week 3. We don't know. I mean, some of, the Tampa Bay Bandits and Houston Gamblers could be terrible, or they could be fantastic. We just don't know. But they have laid out the schedule. We just don't know what the times will be. And we won't know what the times will be until, like they said, 2 weeks prior. But since you're not, if you're a fan of the team, yeah, that might be kind of annoying because you're trying to, set your DVR or whatever. Remember TiVo? Any of you people remember TiVo? Setting your things to record. You're going to miss out on that, not being able to do that. But, those games will be coming. You just have to pay attention. Now on USFL News Hub, we do have the schedule, and we'll have that up to date as they provide games. And we will have to add how we're going to figure out pick 'em. I guess it doesn't matter the time of games. I'll have to think about that on News Hub Fantasy. But there you have it. The schedule is out. We have games. We have primetime games. We have Friday night games. It's going to be a very interesting and fun season in the USFL. The USFL Supplemental Draft is set to take place on Thursday, March 10th at 7 p.m. We finally got official time. Now, they keep moving forward despite this little thing going to happen on March 16th. We'll see how that goes. But they announced that the supplemental draft will be Thursday, March 10th at 7 p.m. And just like the inaugural draft on February 22nd and 23rd, picks will be announced via social media. 280 players have already been selected for the inaugural draft class. 80 more will join them on March 10th as the USFL Supplemental Draft begins at 7 p.m. All 10 rounds will be revealed by the best social media team in sports. That's from Darren James from the USFL. From the USFL draft press release, it said it would conduct a 10-round supplemental draft, selecting 80 players. This gives potential players more time to opt in with a signed contract. So we could have gotten more guys signing their USFL contract after seeing the excitement about the league. So we could get some interesting names in this draft. Teams will have 2 minutes between selections during the supplemental draft, and teams may select from any position group. So we could have a quarterback, we could have a running back. At the conclusion of the supplemental draft, each team will have 45 players for a league total of 360 players once the season begins on April 16th. Each team's active roster will have 48 players plus 7-man practice squad. Doing the math, 38 plus 2 is 45 players. So that's what they'll have. But they'll have 80 to select 80 more players. So there'll be some guys cut. And we'll track all of that stuff on USFL News Hub. We're also still waiting more details about this combine. And now we're hearing this Ben Fisher, Adam Schefter kind of combine thing might not happen at all. Stay tuned for that information. USFL News Hub, of course, will have a full draft recap and a team-by-team breakdown. We have guys writing. We already have team-by-team breakdown of the schedule that came out this week. So Thursday, March 10th at 7 p.m., check out the USFL draft. The Markcast will be broadcasting live during the supplemental draft, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. Our own Matt Lyons had the first USFL post-draft power rankings. So he had a draft with just the coaches' power rankings, and now he's got the post-draft power rankings, the USFL. So, of course, they have. Now that they have players, he went off by coaches. Now that he has players, here we go. He's got number 1 is the Tampa Bay Bandits. He pre-draft, he had them at 7. Todd Haley's coaching. He's kind of been in, but getting Jordan Ta'amu, Bruno Reagan, and Eli Rogers, BJ Edmonds, a lot of guys on that list that they drafted really, really well. That shot them up from 7 all the way to number 1 is the Tampa Bay Bandits based on their draft that they had. Notable players, Jordan Ta'amu, Juwan Washington, Eli Rogers, Derek Dillon, Vinny Papali, who didn't make it in the XFL. Bruno Reagan is out there. Devontae Davis, among some others out there. Number 2 is the Pittsburgh Maulers. They moved up from number 3. Kirby Wilson, first-time head coach. They got Kyle Laletta. That was a big name there. They had some good players defensively with Boogie Roberts added to the squad. So let's check out some of their notable players, of course. Let's see. Carlo Kemp, a defensive end. So some definitely players on this list, Kyle Laletta and others, really kind of pushed them up to number 2. Number 3, New Orleans Breakers. They were at number 6. New Orleans, in my opinion, that has the best uniforms in the USFL. Kyle Slaughter, Larry Fedora, of course, is the head coach there. Some name players out there. Larry Rose, some fans are familiar with him. Jonathan Adams at wide receiver. Adonis Alexander, Austin McGinnis, kicker. Some people might remember some of those names. Number 4, he's got with the ugliest uniforms. Let me know in the chat what you think. Philadelphia Stars, they were pre-draft at 5. They had Bart Andrews as their head coach. But Brian Scott, I'm telling you, watch Brian Scott. He's following their championship spring league. While the Spring League, Scott earned 2 league MVP awards in 2018 and 2020 and an MVP in the 2020 championship game. Scott will have some talented weapons with him. This is a guy that I definitely want to watch, is Brian Scott. All of us in the alt football, spring football world know of his name. It'd be really interesting to see that he gets a shot at the title. Darnell Holland at running back, Brandon Eagles at wide receiver, Matt Mengel, friend of the Markcast, is on there as well. Jerome Johnson at defensive tackle, Bug Howard at tight end. So they are number 4 on the list, the power ranking from number 5. Birmingham Stallions. Now, this is the team that I think needs to be the most dominant team in the league for this to be successful. This is the hometown team. This is the one that can sell tickets. This is the one that needs to be really good. If they're terrible, that's not good for the league starting off. I'm just pointing that out. But I like Skip Holtz. I think he's a good guy to start as your head coach. However, the draft, I don't know. He had him down at 5, kind of right in the middle of the lane, so to speak. Alex Magoo is your quarterback. Not a lot of fans knew about him. Running back CJ Marvel. People know of that name. Willie Yarberry, defensive tackle. Scooby Wright, people know him. Lorenzo Burns and Tyree Robinson on defense. That team, middle of the pack, number 5. Michigan Panthers. Now, they were number 1 because they had Jeff Fisher, and Jeff Fisher is probably the biggest name in here. They do have their quarterbacks is lined up, but that's not a problem. And Shea Patterson's Paxton Lynch. This is going to be a team to follow about this quarterback situation. You'd think they're going to go with the young guy, but Paxton Lynch might be the guy to lead the team. He was kind of a last-minute signing. I'll be really curious to see if there's other last-minute signing, but we already got our quarterbacks. You wonder if there's going to be the third quarterback taken, and some of these guys might get cut. Jeff Badette had some time in the NFL and, of course, the XFL. Same with Quincy Abadejo. I recognize that name. Let's see. Kavon Walker played in the XFL. Frank Ginda at linebackers, just some notable names there. New Jersey Generals, pre-draft at 2. They went all the way down to 7, Mike Riley's team, with really dropped down there. Ben Holmes is the quarterback, DeAndre Johnson. Trey Williams at running back, a name that you might remember. Malik Hamner, defensive end. We had an article about him on one of our, I think it was on XFL News Hub, before we shifted everything to USFL News Hub. And Devontae Busby. And then at number 8, who also was a pre-draft at 8, stays down, Kevin Summerlin. Not a lot of people fans of his. The Houston Gamblers at 8. Some notable players, Clayton Thorson, Benji Bahar, played for the Ravens. Running back, Mark Thompson. Brandon Barnes, tight end. That's a name you might recognize from the XFL. Chris Odom, defensive end. Jamar Summers also, I think, had a really good XFL run. So this is the list right now. Let's drop it one more time. The early, way too early, but maybe not too early. Now, power rankings post-draft. He's got number 1, Bandits. Number 2, the Pittsburgh Maulers. Number 3, Nolens Breakers. Number 4, Philadelphia Stars. And number 5, Birmingham Stallions. At 6, Michigan Panthers. At 7, New Jersey Generals. And the bottom of the list, Houston Gamblers. Could the Houston Gamblers be the worst team in the USFL? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Send us a message on the USFL post-draft power rankings. We'd love to hear what your thoughts and what your personal power rankings could be. Let us know. What league is not complete then without a ranking of the top 15 players in the USFL by our own player expert, Evan Wilsmore? He breaks it all down for you. So let's check it out. We'll go through this list. Number 5, Channing Strebing, cornerback, Michigan, team the Philadelphia Stars. I've heard his name out before. Believe he had some time in the CFL and XFL and AAF. That was a good pickup there. Kyle Laletta, QB at Richmond for the Pittsburgh Maulers, comes in at 14, one of the top guys. He won a Super Bowl. It was a Senior Bowl MVP in 2018. He was a 4th-round pick of the Giants. Didn't really play much. He gets a fresh start. Could he just come out the gate and blow stuff up for the Pittsburgh Maulers? He was on an interview at a local Pittsburgh radio station, did a great job, was a fan of his. After that, we have a full article on USFL News Hub if you want to learn more from Kyle Laletta. Number 13, Brian Allen, cornerback of Utah for the Birmingham Stallions. Spring football world is finding himself in the spring football world for the first time. He was originally a 5th-round draft pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2017 and has since been a member of 5 different teams. Of course, bounce around like a lot of these guys. Now he can get some playing time and get a look. He's at number 13. Scooby Wright played in the XFL with the DC Defenders. I think I had the chance to actually meet him. He was a familiar face, and a lot of people know him. Unfortunately, only suited up for 3 games. Was a dominated college football in 2014, arguably the best player in the nation at one point. Unfortunately, after only suiting up for 3 games the following season, his NFL draft stock slipped dramatically. who would end up being taken in one of the final picks of the 7th round, but still managed to stay on rosters through 2018-19, spent time in the AAF XFL, and now he gets the chance to shine in the USFL. Super excited to see him do well there. Devontae Smith, running back, Michigan, with the Maulers. He was with the Miami Dolphins. He was with the AAF. He was a member of the Tampa Bay Vipers. He was a good player there. And he's still in the prime at 27, appears enough left in the gas tank to be on the top leaderboards. Definitely a fan. Some of these guys, you need to make sure that you got your fantasy, News Hub Fantasy, checking out some of these players on your list. Kyle Slaughter, quarterback, New Orleans Breakers. Know a lot about him. Joined the Denver Broncos, an undrafted, somewhat of a journeyman, bounced around some teams, and now he lands with the New Orleans Breakers. He's their main guy there. Chris Odom, defensive end at Arkansas State for the Houston Gamblers. Didn't play at a large college football program like many other players on this list, but that didn't stop him from making many plays. Odom has shined as a defensive lineman, but also known for his contribution on special teams. That's a huge thing. Blocked 5 kicks, were the second most in Arkansas State history, which helped him get NFL attention. He signed with the Falcons, undrafted 2017. Of course, didn't see much. He recently played for the Stampeders in 2021, where he recorded 5 tackles in 3 games. So Chris Odom out there. Marquise Malukas, offensive tackle, something that is a rare thing to find in these leagues. That's the problem. There's thin offensive tackle play in the NFL. So the idea that all these leagues has plenty of talent to go around, not at quarterback and not at tackle. He was with the Vipers in 2020, anchor for the best offensive line. I'd agree with that because 2 Tampa Bay running backs, Devon Smith and Jacques Packard, finished in the top 5 for rushing. And that was because of guys like him. So he could be a compliment to Kyle Slaughter. Again, I would have been all over offensive tackles. Eli Rogers spent 4 years with Pittsburgh. 3 were under Bandits head coach Todd Haley, so maybe Todd Haley wanted to bring back. He would be a top target in DC Defenders, so he could have an immediately impact. I mean, Eli Rogers, Tampa Bay Bandits with Jordan Ta'amu. Could we see another kind of PJ Walker? Oh my goodness, I forgot his name now. Cam Phillips action going on in the USFL between Eli Rogers and Jordan Ta'amu. That is a good one. Avery Genesee, offensive tackle, spent some time with the XFL, but also I think he got maybe some time with some NFL teams were interested in him as well. So Kevin Gambler's head coach similarly held the same position at Texas A&M while Genesee was there, so they already know they have a connection. So now he's got a guy that he can trust. He was from Last Chance U to the USFL, so Genesee gets a shot there as the number 6 player. Then you have Taywan Taylor, wide receiver, Western Kentucky for the New Orleans Breakers. He was the best wide receiver in Western Kentucky history, recording 3,000 yards and 34 touchdowns over his last 2 seasons. We've gone selected the 3rd round by the Tennessee Titans and traded to the Cleveland Browns 2 years later. And 2020, Taylor had over 50 career interceptions, boasted plenty of upside, just 27 years old. The Slaughter-Taylor duo could be definitely one to keep an eye on in the USFL as the season progresses there. Devontae Busby, cornerback, Pittsburgh State, considering a veteran at this point in his pro career. We've done plenty in his first NFL opportunity in 2020. He won a Super Bowl as a member of the Eagles practice squad. After spending time in the AAF, made a comeback with the Broncos. The Generals made a great choice, adding Busby to the roster. Strong voice on and off the field. He's the number 4. Kayvon Walker, defensive end, Maryland, played with the New York Guardians. He was a great player there. 5 tackles for a loss, 9 quarterbacks hits, established himself. He was a great player. He will be a great player from Maryland to play for the Michigan Panthers with Jeff Fisher. Should be exciting to see how he does. C.J. Marvell, running back, Coastal Carolina, Birmingham Stallions. Could they get a super playmaker? He's yet to have any meaningful professional games. Don't let that hinder you. In his 2 seasons at Coastal Carolina, he counted for 23 touchdowns on the ground while averaging 5.2 yards per carry. Additionally, he had 10 receiving touchdowns, bring up a total to 33. Signed by the Bears, undrafted in 2021, but didn't make the final roster. He's only 1 year removed from college, He's young and can develop into an NFL caliber player with little more time. Stallions will hope him just do that. It could give him a team and a league as a whole some serious credibility in the future. He could be a guy to watch. Very young guy. And number one, from my Tampa Bay Bandits, your number one player, Jordan Ta'amu, spent time jumping around different NFL teams. Of course, he was known for the St. Louis Battlehawks, but played in a couple games, didn't really get a chance to shine. Now he's got a chance to shine and got some great weapons to work with, and he's back on the field for the USFL. Quarterback out of Mississippi rounds out that. There's some honorable mentions. Shea Patterson, quarterback, Panthers. Jamar Moore, wide receiver from Missouri. He's on the New Jersey Generals. And Ahmad Gooden, defensive end, outside linebacker from Samford and for the Houston Gamblers. So what do you think of this list? Do you agree? Who's missing from this list? Who needs to be removed? Let us know your ranking of the top 15 players in the USFL. So we're having the old versus the new hearing set for March 16th. That's right. The old old USFL is suing the new USFL. So on Monday, the old USFL filed a motion to seek a preliminary injunction blocking Fox Sports from using the USFL name and team names. We now have a date for that trial, which is Wednesday, March 16th, next week. 30 days before the USFL will kick off its first game. The motion was filed in United States District Court in Central District of California. The press release from the old USFL lawyers basically saying they maintained the legacy. It was created, blah, blah, blah. Now, Mike Florio from Pro Football Talks explains what the old USFL hopes to do. Quote, the plaintiff hopes to persuade the presiding judge that the chances of winning are so strong and the interests at play so important that the relief ultimately sought should be granted while the underlying legal questions are addressed. Essentially meaning stop the league from playing until they figure this out. If they have such a strong case, some of it boils down to trademarks. Fox Sports lawyers said, quote, the lawsuit filed by an entity formed just a week ago is completely without merit. The new USFL registered its intellectual property rights in 2011 and has decided to launch games in the schedule of on April 16th. The 11th hour attempt to extract value from the exciting new USFL is utterly frivolous and will explore all options for redress. The only thing is, if you listen to the Marcast, they had an IP lawyer, a trademark lawyer, and he wasn't like, it's just because you have the trademarks that you're in the game and you don't have to worry about anything. That there is more to it than just that one aspect of it. And even he didn't see even a problem with them forming a legal entity just before this lawsuit. So who knows how this is going to go. It'll be very interesting. Watch. We'll find out more March 16th if the old USFL has a strong enough case or not. If you don't own the trademark, what case do you have? They clearly, some people are right and some of it, and some, I don't know. We'll have to find out. The USFL's inaugural game between the New Jersey Generals and Birmingham Stallions will kick off on April 16th, simulcast on Fox and NBC. Let's hope this lawsuit is done and goes away and that we can move forward with this USFL. And if you notice with the USFL, they don't kind of, and I think it's because of these guys are out there, they did acknowledge at first, but now they don't really acknowledge the USFL from the past. Hopefully, if anything we get out of this is some clarity on what this, so that the new USFL can embrace the old record books, embrace the old players, and bring them all involved as they move forward. But I think the reason why they didn't is because these old guys were around and they wanted lots of money. And now we're just going to find out what happens in the court of law. All right. We'll be back with your social media stuff right after this and phone calls. Stay tuned, my friends.
Coming up this week on the Marcast, it is our Law and Order meets Alt Football edition of the show. The real USFL is suing the new USFL. As opposed to just pontificating and doing Google researches, I decided to talk to some experts to see what they have to say. General thoughts on USFL so far? What do you think about it?
What we know of it seems like they're doing a lot of things right. I I say that as they're, being hauled into court for the legitimacy of their very name and team brand. So maybe I shouldn't go too far down that path.
I talked with Ben Fisher of the Sports Business Journal all about this. Ben was the journalist that broke the story about the USFL lawsuit. Really interested to get Ben's thoughts on that and kind of the ramifications he thinks moving forward. I also bring back friend of the show, trademark and IP lawyer Michael Cohen out of Beverly Hills to really dive into the legitimacy of this lawsuit. We're going to get Michael's thoughts.
Right now, it's a power struggle in regards to the true ownership of the trademark rights. Is it going to be this entity in which they're calling themselves the real USFL, or is it going to be the Fox thing?
And then I also got CFL talk. We got Richie Leone, longtime fan favorite of the Ottawa Red Blacks and America's team, the BC Lions, is coming on the show.
Canada is a long-term a better play because you can make a great career up here. You can be a part of something. There's a lot of history, and I love that part about the CFL.
Big time show this week. Lots of research, lots of energy, scheduling everything, working through everything. If you guys like and enjoy, please share the video, like and subscribe, retweet, and have a good day. Thanks again.
All right, my friends, we are back on the show. Appreciate everyone. Remember, if you like football, then smash the like button. Give us a subscribe right now. Let's get some tons of likes here. We only have 6 likes. Let's get all the way to at least 30 likes of the first episode. That would make my day. That would make me so happy. Subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of great content coming out your way. What's up to everybody in the chat? Clint says, your odds, the USFL kicks off in April as the USFL. I was thinking, this is a slam dunk. It's a trademark thing. Forget about it. This is easy. It's over. But after hearing the attorney on the Markcast, it made me think differently. And I'm like, I don't know if this is a slam dunk. I would assume, and you should never assume, that the judge will be like, hey, this let's go forward. Maybe you should string some money, but man, could you imagine? We have that's the other thing about this whole situation is you would think that the Fox had done its due diligence, and that's what I'm relying on the most. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but we'll know on the 16th because it's an injunction. They want to stop it, and if the judge says, "I agree, we're going to stop it," this story, and again, because sports media is all about the salaciousness, like this story, and it's a very interesting story, don't get me wrong, got more run than anything else the USFL was doing, which kind of annoyed me, but that's just the way things have gone on with this league. That's just the way sports goes on, and that's my whole philosophy on what we're doing here on USFL News Hub, XFL News Hub, CFL News Hub, is to kind of get away from all that stuff. Mark J. Brown, MJ from Pikesville, absolutely loving USFL News Hub. Thank you. Mark Perry, keep up the awesome, excellent work. Remember, the Philadelphia/Baltimore Stars will follow the Stars for sentimental reasons. Okay. The problem, Mark J., is your boys look like McDonald's uniforms. This has got the best uniform. Oh, and by the way, if you don't think I'm in, here's the Tampa Bay Bandits. Hey, XFL, what are you up to? Come on. I got my Bandits. And then, hey, if it changes, I like it. I guess I'll have to change it to something else. Clint says Stars will go 4-4 and making the USFL championship game. Okay. Says, do we know who the broadcast teams for Fox and NBC will be? That is a great question. I will have to see if I can find out what. We're only 40 days away. That is a great question. Who's going to be these broadcast teams? I feel like when the XFL did it, we were probably maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks out when we heard that. But that's a great question. I'm not sure how that will be. Rangers King 669 says game time will matter because of the heat in May and June. Yeah, I don't know what it's like in Alabama, May and June as far as heat goes. And you're right. I think they kept the schedule open so that they can switch things around. He says there's a strong chance that 11 a.m. games are sluggish. I don't know. He says, I know they are saying they would have some games at those times. That's true. Chris says, looks like PT games on Friday and Saturday nights, noon games on Saturday a Sunday, having a 3 p.m. game. Yes, it should be a lot of fun. A lot of fun football. And then Haas 304 has been watching since XFL News Hub hit the scene. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. I think, I'm excited about one of these leagues is going to make it, please. And not get canceled by anything. No pandemic, no space aliens, no legal thing. I'm going to be like, you got to be kidding me. If this happens next week and we're like right there and they're like, we're going to have to cancel the season. We'll see you next year because of this legal thing. It needs to be hashed out. I'm going to be like, but there's too much money. I just don't see that happening. And what were these guys? How much were these guys making anyway over the last couple of years? Keeping their goodwill. I didn't even know that they existed running the show behind the scenes, but they did. Did they have employees? Were they making any money? That's why I think they're just going to get wrecked. And even Reed had said he saw there was like spelling mistakes in their filing and all this other stuff. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I appreciate everybody in the chat rooms out there saying what's up. I have to see why we're not broadcasting on the Facebooks right now, but maybe they might not allow us just yet. Appreciate all that stuff. Let's get into some of your social media stuff. Oh, hey, what I wanted to show you is, did you know that you can play fantasy football? USFL fantasy football. You can sign up right now. newshubfantasy.com is the place to be, where you can play different kinds of leagues. We have pro wrestling, AEW. We have USFL and XFL fantasy leagues playing right now. So let me take a second here. I'm going to log in for you. Let's see here. Okay, so you can register right now. So you can go in, log in. This is alpha, so this isn't like bulletproof, settle down. Like, this code has been around for a little while, but now it's kind of really laser focused. I was going to make fantasy football for like a standalone site for each, and I was like, let me just make one that's got the brand, News Hub Fantasy. Everybody knows about that. Fantasy News Hub would sound weird, so I did News Hub Fantasy just to mix it up a little bit. So you could sign up, you could see the leagues I'm in. So once you get access, you can see all the different leagues. It'll show you your leagues that you in. See, I was at a bunch of USFL and AEW leagues as testing this stuff out. But you log in, you go to the left, you click on USFL Fantasy Football. On this page, it's going to show you the top players of the week, who's got the most scores, the top teams of the week, who is the top teams, players. This would be USFL players. Top teams, as in fantasy owners. So if you're like the master, it's going to show you out there. And then you can view your leagues here. They've got more sections coming soon. But you can join a league. You can create a league. If you want to see what a league looks like, this was just a test league that I created. So we called it USFL Master League. It has your draft day set on here. Pre-draft is what's coming out next. So we have the rosters on the application. So what you're going to be able to do is you'll be able to log in and do a pre-draft. So you could pick like where your quarterbacks want to be, where your other players want to be. So you can do all that. There's a chat. So you just type in a message and it will send it to all the players. Oh, here we go. Clint is signed up. He already signed up. So that's good. We got account settings. You can check out the person's personal page and see like their lineup and how they did, their current lineup, their total points, all that kind of fun stuff. So you can see a chat, and then it'll have league notifications. So you can do, if somebody drops a player or waiver pickups, those kind of things. Also, we have, once the pre-draft is set, then we're going to give you the ability to do mock drafts. So you can log in at any time and be like, I just feel like doing a draft against the computer. And you'll click on that and then it will do a draft. I really want to work out the drafting engine more. That's the thing that gives me nightmares at night more than anything else. It worked okay with the AEW stuff, but I really want to see it. And I think being able to do mock drafts number one, will give us data to kind of give us an idea of where these players should be ranked based on your personal pre-draft. And then also see how the engine works. So you can invite a friend maybe, and two of you can do a mock draft, or you just do one by yourself and just see how it all goes. And remember, we could always use some feedback there. And this is not the bulletproof like perfect system out there. It's going to be buggy. This is really meant to build things up for when the XFL comes out, but I didn't know what the USFL kind of data we're going to get, how, you have to kind of wait and see, but let's just see if we can make it happen this season. So I've been working hard on that. So that's News Hub Fantasy right there for you. So you can play some fantasy football, huh? It sounds like fun. Also, I wanted to get to, before we get to the social media, your emails, et cetera, I wanted to, let's see here. I wanted to talk about the ticket information. Did you guys see this at all? So this is the USFL ticket information. So all regular season games will be played in Birmingham, Alabama. If you're new to the scene, that's what's happening. That's what's going on. Inaugural kickoff game, of course, is New Jersey versus the Birmingham Stallions, April 16th. $10 tickets for all regular season games, 3 free tickets. Each adult with a general admission ticket can get up to 3 tickets for children under 15. You could get a single day. Tickets allow entries to all USFL games played on any date. And Touchdown 10-pack includes 10 single day adult general admission tickets and is only $90. So I think that saves you $10. And you can go to every game. So that's a great thing. Awesome stuff. I'd assume they're going to do donations, but you can go get all the USFL ticket information right now. We can go take a look at, here's the USFL's site. Oh, let me switch it to this. So we can see, and they added this week by week matchups, and the week 1 release, they've added some more things. But if you want to get inaugural tickets, and of course they also have the schedule. So you can see all the breakdown in the schedule, when they'll be. You could buy tickets for all the games. But here's the stadiums are all $10 each. There's some $40 seats in here as well. You see that? Some $40 seats. $40 each. So I guess that gets you reserve club ticket. Oh, I might have to get that. So they got some club seat, and you'll get 2 tickets together in this row. So they got some little premium seats. Everything is general admission, but if you really want to go gangster level, you can get some of these other tickets. Not a ton sold. Well, this one's got 63 tickets left, 100, and so we will see. So there you go. That's for the inaugural game. I don't know what's going on with the other ones, but that is all the ticket information for the USFL games. Super excited. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. All right, let's get to some emails real quick on the social media side, and then we have a phone call. Rob says Fox Sports and its lawyers would use the USFL brand, not knowing full well that they would win in any court case if they trusted checkered history, blah, blah, blah. It'd be real hard to imagine if this wasn't fully vetted. I totally agree, Rob. 100%. I feel like this had to have been fully vetted before we ever went to this kind of stuff. Fourth and Long says, agree and greed is behind the stupid real USFL group that might lose money, a lot of it in court. I wonder if they'll ask them for money to bring up this lawsuit, as in like, yo, now that you brought this up and it's frivolous, now you got to pay us. They seemed, at least in their press release, that they were not playing around at all. Rob says, even after the expiry, a trademark is considered to be active if it is used in the trade and commerce. You can trademark an expired trademark only in such cases where the trademark has not been in a use in commerce. If you stop using your trademark, the court can determine if you have abandoned the mark. Clearly, the original USFL was using their trademarks in commerce by selling merchandise. So there is a case here. Not to mention that there is now a question, perhaps, that the supposed transfer of the trademark was done by an unauthorized entity. That's out there. That's what makes me concerned. That's why I'm like, I don't know, man. That's out there. And then Fourth and Long says, are these guys the true owners of the league or team trademark? Is a cash grab? Good luck. Because when or they lose, they'll lose big. Who knows what's going to happen with that as well. I got a whole thing from the people that are putting the lawsuit out. I was going to play it, and I'm like, nah, It was just some quotes from guys in the league. I mean, we'll see if this actually has any legs. I might play some of it, but I'm like, meh, I don't know if I'm gonna do that. And Jim checking in says, always XFL News Hub is the best. I hope he enjoys things. He says, any chance Hub will be able to put together a USFL Pick'em League for this inaugural year? I think so. I think now that we have the schedule, we'll get the schedule all squared away. Pick'em will be next. So first it's pre-draft, then it's mock draft. Pick'em is pretty simple, I think, to set up because basically you're just coming in and you can create leagues. So I think we could do something like that as well. I think that's taking the data, doing something easy. So I would like to do that as well. I'm hoping there's a lot of things to get to just to try to get this thing work, but we would love to have pick'em leagues in too. We'll see how things go with that whole deal. All right, let's get to our phone call.
Hey, this is Jared, and I just wanted to talk about the missed opportunities of the USFL. I think they should have had a Super Bowl advertisement. I don't understand why NBC doesn't allow them to have one advertisement, but they'll give Bel Air 30 advertisements during the Super Bowl. That would have been a great way to show everybody that the USFL is coming and it's legit. But and then also I think they need to have more fan engagement events. Get involved one-on-one, in person versus just everything online. I think like the draft, it should have been on camera. They brought the quarterbacks in from everywhere and there was a party. So film that, put it on your YouTube channel or something like that. I just thought they missed out on that, for example. Is Daryl Johnson the face of the USFL now? I mean, is there a commissioner? Is there a president that should be showing their face like Brian Woods? I'm kind of confused. So I know he seems to be the only guy that's showing his face, with Daryl Johnson. I am impressed. Here's another thing, is that the USFL is showing XFL clips of players that were drafted, and they also showed some pictures of former XFL players in their XFL uniforms. I was kind of impressed with that. I was kind of surprised that they would do that against their rival, we'll say. Thank you for taking this message.
All right, we are back. Jared, check it in. Yeah, we talked about this on XFL Week in Review, but now that we're doing USFL Week in Review, totally, a missed opportunity with the Super Bowl to kind of get hype things. But I really think they're an incubator. They're not like going full guns blazing right now. It's kind of like this. Well, we're doing stuff on the low end and seeing if we can get through the first season and then build it up from there. Fan engagement, I mean, it goes back to that problem that they're having with, playing in a hub city. I mean, people are like, yeah, but they're all playing their games in Birmingham. It's the Pittsburgh Maulers, but they don't play here in Pittsburgh. But I think this is part of the plan. We just have to be patient when it comes to that. So I think, if the Pittsburgh Maulers, for example, were playing next season in Pittsburgh, then I think you would see a lot more local fan engagement, because what are they trying to do? They're trying to sell season tickets. And that's like what the XFL did. The XFL did the whole thing with the team presidents and having events and there wasn't a ton of people, but it was like your initial fans were part of those things. And then, that would and each event just drew more and more people as more and more people got interested in it. I hope the XFL does that, but the USFL is not going to do that this year. I might not even say that they would do it next year. I'd be stunned, pleasantly surprised if they had two teams play home games and they didn't play another season in Birmingham. But we'll have to see how that goes. And finally, about Daryl Moose Johnson, yeah. I think he's kind of the best guy for the gig, personally. I think he's the best guy for the job to kind of be that face of the league. Everybody likes Moose Johnson. I've heard good things about him, and then I heard like a couple people that weren't fans of his. But I don't know. But for the most part, I've heard good things about him. So, and he's been on shows and talking about the league. So I think he's probably the best guy to put out there because, Dallas Cowboys, multiple Super Bowls. I think he's your best bet with as kind of your face of the franchise of the USFL. And he's got a lot of experience, AAF, XFL, and now USFL. So we'll see how he does there. All right, my friends. That's it for this show. Haas 304 says, I traveled 9 hours to a Battlehawks game before the XFL got canceled. Awesome trip. I hope the USFL does great, and maybe we can go have games in Pittsburgh, much closer drive for me. That's the thing. I hope that they have these, I hope they move, but they're not going to this year. And this is something we've never seen before. It's like, hey, here's your hometown team. You just can't see them in your hometown. You're going to have to wait a year. How are the ratings going to be? Is it going to draw people to their teams in those markets? That's going to be a really interesting thing to watch. All right, my friends, that's it for this week's show. Appreciate you coming on the show. Remember, leave us, if you want to be part of the show, email podcast@USFL News Hub with your thoughts, or record an MP3 or video. Leave us on a phone. We'll play it on next week's show. You can leave us a voicemail, 888-430-7692, extension 3. As always, and leave us a review. Once that's up, we'll be on Stitcher. Give us a chance in the next week or two. Next week we'll be on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. We should hopefully be on that starting next week. And watch USFL Week in Review live at 9 p.m. Eastern every Monday on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Twitch will be coming soon as well. And remember, you can always play USFL or News Hub Fantasy is open right now. All right, that's it, my friends. I appreciate you guys hanging out. And as always, we'll see you again at 9 p.m. Eastern next week. Lots of news this week, supplemental draft. We have the broadcast schedule tomorrow. So much stuff coming out for the USFL this week. It should be a fun, exciting week. And hopefully we get some more big-time name players coming to the USFL in this supplemental draft. We will just have to find out. All right, my friends, remember, give us a like. Smash that like button, and also subscribe to this channel. Help spread the word about the USFL, my friends. All right, that's it for me, folks. God bless, and I will see you all. I say this all the time. Later.